Live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. See if I can get this thing set up. See if I got anybody on here tonight. We're going to do this thing right. Just coming on live right now. See what we're talking about. See what we're working on. Got this world premiere. Hope everybody's having a good weekend, being safe out there. Always manage to keep your safety going. By all means, get this question going. And I'm starting this poll up real quick. It's going to be some football poll. Got this thing going, so we're gonna see what we're working with. See what I got going. This is me all up. I have to do this again. Okay, so we got bunches, and let's see if anybody's coming through. Feel free to comment. I got a lot to get into. I was going to go into different topics. I think I was going to talk about what's happening. Rio D, how you doing tonight? Where you coming from? Okay, so let's get into it. But there's a lot I can get into. I started off with this football thing last night. Kansas City Chiefs got to be one of the luckiest, mind blowing teams I've seen. I mean, that was crazy. The field goal kicker the kicker missed all those field goals. Uh, the way they win, it's just it's uncanny. It's crazy. When I see that, I'm like, wow, is that really real? Crazily real. Uncanny. Uncanny. And they look pretty good. I mean, Patrick Mahomes looked pretty good, but the Raiders was in the game, and I was like, wow, they always find a way fumble to fumble the snap. It's just crazy. I can't. I've never seen another team on my days of watching football that have had so many rabbits hats come out of the chute. So anyway, let's see. We got some people in here. What's happening? How you doing? Tell me where you're coming from, and if you have any questions, thoughts, or anything. That's just a football related one. We can talk about whatever. Obviously, for some people celebrating the holiday, it's a busy weekend. For some people in between travel, uh, um, some people are music, going through the blues, family relationships. It's that time of the year. It does feel very festive. You know, just one of those sort of things. It's kind of all over the place though. But yeah, I'm here for a minute to see what we're talking about. Um, you know, it's just one of those things that You know, we're gonna talk about it. It's a lot to take in. You know. So let me know how you're doing today. Tell me where you're coming from, what's going on, and by all means, hit the like, subscribe, and we can go from there. I already got a job. Won't you get a job? You know, people telling someone to get something should already have something before you run your mouth. And I ain't no troll, and I ain't afraid of nothing. Keyboard gangsters love talking trash, but they would never come to face you face to face. Keyboard gangsters love to pop off, but they ain't got nothing to back up. Won't you get off some? Why don't you get off your neighbor's Wi-Fi? Be a smart aleck. You think you smart and sharp. You probably ain't got no teeth. You probably looking for a quick paycheck. That's probably what it is. Yeah, not even real. A lot further along than you can imagine. You gotta have some money to be where I'm at. A lot further along than where you are. Let's just say not only blessed, but I'm a lot further along than you are. A lot further along. Let me guess, you probably you well, that's what you think. That's that Trumpism. That's that MAGA. The MAGA make you deep. I like trolls because they funny. You like to think you are. You like to think. It's a real psychological dynamic at work. To think. However, the mind that I evolved goes back in time. What's up? Thank you for coming here, and I hope you see this troll that I got above you. This is some real funny stuff, so I'm glad someone coming in. I let this troll sit there because they think they deep. I want you to see what I got to deal with above. But what I deal with when I speak, my videos definitely be getting reaction. Mhm. I got them. They be planting. So Ted, what's up, man? Talk, talk, talk. What you want to talk about? I can tell you about the poll question. Boy, are they lucky. I have never seen anything like the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I used to, uh, yeah, you'd be surprised what's mine. But you know, when people gotta come along on computers and have to say stuff, and they really ain't got no life, and they really don't have the articulation to get deep, they'll say whatever they want to say. They'll say whatever they want to say. They're delusional. Yeah, well, you in for a rude awakening. You're in for a rude awakening. Because when Judgment Day comes, you're gonna be in for real surprise. Real surprise. History about to open your eyes. I almost want to see what it's gonna be like when the truth comes out for you, but I don't. But I do. And there's gonna be so many more that's gonna be in for a real surprise. Where you at, Ted? I just want you to see what I'm dealing with. This is comedy first rate right here. I'm bringing them out. I got them coming out. I got them talking all crazy for the whole world to see. You ain't got two good fists, and you don't have a good soul or a good mind. The only thing you want to fight is something that you can't win. You can't win. You can't win. Hello, how are you? And where are you coming from? And you're welcome to come here and talk, but you're not in the light. See, there's the difference. Does it make you right? Makes no difference. Anyway, I am Stu. Where you coming from today? If you don't mind me asking. Anybody who wants to talk, feel free. When I get tired of trolls, I'll let them go. But anyway, feel free to have conversation. I don't disappear. I stay in the light. There's the difference. I know I'm in the light. That's okay. I welcome that. Been called a lot worse. Anyway, anybody else out there who wants to have conversation, feel free to talk. I always have to deal with some kind of a troll. It's okay though. Lets me know I'm doing something right. If you're not doing nothing right, you never get them. That's what I said. But he missed that one pass when it was it 13-3? He missed that one pass to Kelsey. He stumbled. They should have won that game. They should have won that game easily. But that boy for the Raiders looked pretty good. I like that tight end. He looked good too. But this is what I got to deal with every time I come on here. Oh, and because the videos, it's okay though. I ain't scared of them. They got nothing else better to do. I don't know what that means. You were here and just say your piece. Yeah, Kansas City is something else though. But I got the funny feeling come the playoffs, it's gonna go up another notch. That's the scary part. They're 11-1 and they haven't even been that good. That's scary. That tells you how bad he is. That's why he's the GOAT. I can say it. I've never seen Brady be like that and win like that or pick none of them. What he's doing is mind blowing. And Andy Reid used to lose half these games back in the day. That's a problem. But the problem is if you don't put touchdowns up and you stay close to them and you don't put them out their misery, they got a way to beat you. None all those games could have gone either way. They won. Think about it. Think about it. So you better and the Bills didn't even really spank them. They beat them, but they still was close. So I'm amazed. That they are a rare team. Okay, well, you didn't want to talk. I mean, if you wanted to talk, but thank you for coming through. So, yeah, well, we'll see what happens in the playoffs. But I was, you know, again, they win games. That's what it's about. At the end of the day, they win. I did catch Colorado. That was Travis Hunter put on a clinic. 9-3. Dion done did the thing. Very impressive. Very impressive. Even though I think, they will get a third tier bowl, but impressive though. But did you see the Georgia Tech game, Ted? Oh God, bet he was. See, if he sticks to journalism, I got no problem with him. Personal shots, I got a problem with. Ain't nobody gonna tell me the numbers matter, and Whitlock ain't dumb. You're 9-3, you were 4-8 last year. Everyone clowned, but what'd he do? 9-3. You know it's only get better. So that's why I have a problem with Whitlock. If you're gonna be a hater that you speak in facts. Say they lost some games where they got embarrassed in Kansas, but they're 9-3. And you can't and then the way college football is today with the parity, they gonna be a championship quality team in about a year or two because the parity is real. Georgia's got 3 losses, but Georgia's a better team than Colorado. But the parity is real in college football. So just keep that in mind. Oh yeah, that Georgia Tech game was crazy. Yeah, well, that's when he was past his peak. But why don't you check him when he's with Atlanta through his days in Dallas when he changed the course of the game? See, that's what Whitlock. That's why he get clowned by me and others because he wants to use parts. Deion Sanders' parts were greater in his peak and his prime. So the Deion from Atlanta to Dallas when they won was a bad dude. He was a bad dude, and that's all we gonna go by. Let's just say that he's way better in his profession than Whitlock has ever been in his. I'll give Whitlock his due if he ever makes a point that's valid. But all that hating and all that stuff that ain't got nothing to do with that. I can't do no with that. And you know I gotta do another video about LeBron Balboa. I'm gonna call him LeBron Rocky Balboa because he's looking like he getting clubber laned. What happened? And SGA is the truth. Y'all pitiful. Got spanked at home. You pitiful. You already know it though. You ain't winning nothing. You ain't even winning the cup. Yeah, and he's struggling to get that. He getting old. He getting old. And the wheels. He need to take a cue from Tom Brady. I'm gonna do a video about that. He getting old because he flat. He old. And he holding. And Anthony Davis is going to 16 points. You're not gonna win like. What did I tell you? AD better look like the second coming of Shaq. He better put a 30 burger and 10. This 16 points, 25. That ain't enough. That ain't enough. You ain't winning nothing if 80 don't push 30 plus. I know y'all trying to hope that connect can connect. That ain't gonna get it done. Them white boys is too slow and they don't have any depth. You got basically junior whopper versions of Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. What you got, the basic what you got. And you in for a long season because you can't run the guard play with them two cats. D'Lo ain't gonna do nothing either. JJ Ridiculous getting exposed. This Darvin Ham's ghost is haunting y'all. I'm telling you, when you play against legit teams that bust your cakes on the perimeter, bust you on ISO, go through the floodgates of the middle, you ain't got nothing. You done. You done. And LeBron too old now. He can't he can't go through set screens and picks no more. He ain't running down nobody. The problem is that y'all don't have a third wheel to cover his behind. Even if you did, even if you miraculously pick up somebody, right, you're gonna have to give up something on defense because you ain't gonna get a you're not gonna get a combo of Tony Allen and Damian Lillard or something. You're gonna get a one side of the coin. So what matters more, scoring more points or playing defense? But LeBron ain't there no more, and that's a fact. They're gonna be booing a lot more than that. That little cup was all they got. That's gonna be their finals, and they done. They done. So they get their butt out on the road. They'll be playing for a lottery. The sham of his son and the sham of it all is just a sham. So I'm not surprised though. Yeah, I saw a video where people was clowning Shannon Sharp with eating his dinner with the dog. I'm gonna have to do a video about that. That's nasty. People get all touchy feely. That's not exactly you know, you know. But that's more believable than Michelle though. Ain't that more believable than him and Michelle though? I think that's more believable than him and Michelle though. You know, he didn't really knock this year out like he after did the cat thing, he just kind of deteriorated if you think about it. Because he's he's had people clowning and it should be his year to stand on top. Him being the Oprah of YouTube and different places, but I don't know. I don't know what that was. Yeah, he is. Well, he's getting that lifestyle. He want that crossover. I don't know. I'll do a video about him, but I'll probably do it in a way. It won't I probably won't do it like, well, I'll just probably just, I'll think about it. It's kinda funny. Elway is the mysteriously low key. I think because Elway went out so bad with the Broncos, he may not wanna be seen. I don't know, you know? They did get that ring, and he pretty much there's nothing really much for him to say, you know? Now if he could get Joe Montana on the show, that'd be interesting. Elway's always been one of them kinda cats, but one of the 10 greatest quarterbacks, though. But it's not surprised, though. I haven't really thought much about Elway, to be honest with you. He grew up privileged because he did the Eli Manning move before Eli did. When he scoffed with going, he got to pick where he wanted to go. And he was a two-tone athlete. I mean, Elway was legit. Had cat had an arm on him too. He was pretty much like the Aaron Rodgers of his day. Arm. But you know, but I don't really think a lot of time of him though. They should. That was one of the worst displays of the final minutes I've ever seen in my life. How the heck you gonna sit there and let 30 seconds go? I mean, you sitting up there like, and Caleb, he has to suck it up because he's a rookie. But I know Keanu, Allen has to be livid. That was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. But when a team is not organized, it shows. Just the way they lost that Washington game, it shows. So, they are what they are. That's why they're 4-8. And that was embarrassing. I saw three stakes of embarrassment, if you must know. That game, the Raiders, and the Giants. Because to be honest, if the Bears were focused, that's a win. The Giants had a good chance to beat Dallas, and the Raiders should have beat Kansas City. But when you're not focused and you're undercoached, overworked, that's what you get. That's what we have. So yeah, who do I like? They were talking about who like that. Um, to be honest with you, it's Baltimore Super Bowl. This could be the Super Bowl too, but it's Baltimore Super Bowl because it's like he do go off. He do go off. This is what he play for. If he treated every game like he treats those regular season matches with the magnitude, he'd be hanging where Mahomes is in that GOAT conversation. He just doesn't do it in the postseason. But oh yeah, you give him a regular season game and someone's considered the favorite because Shaquan, he shows out. It's a bigger game for Baltimore though. Obviously, if Philly wins the game, they will lock up the NFC East. But for Baltimore, it means they're back in the mix. So that puts pressure on the Bills and pressure on Kansas City. So it's a huge game. It has different connotations for both teams. Philly, it means they win the NFC East, which is pretty much a done because Baltimore beat Dallas, Baltimore beat Washington. So they beat them. They got the breaker. Yeah, well, I'm not even wasting my time with that. Did you really think I would? Did I tell you that we suck, that we're going to get the Fruit of the Loom Bowl? We got 6 token wins, and we'll get the stamp, the stamps bowl, but we're no match for Ohio State. Harbaugh got out in plenty of time. I already know. You think I don't know? Like, I don't know what the last November means in college football. You know who you talking to? Do you think you know? You know I know what the last November or the first December in college football mean. We're not on that level. So I'm not even wasting my time with that mess. Michigan is happy that they got a chip and dip bowl, and that's all they played for. They did lucky to get that. That's how I know college football is whack. Because I don't even know if Michigan should have even got a bowl this year. I think Washington Huskies gonna get a bowl too. They didn't do nothing to merit a real bowl, but there you go. Because they suck this year, and I already told you. I'm the first one to tell you about my team. Ain't gonna be no upsets. Ain't gonna be no upsets. It wouldn't even really be an upset if Michigan did beat them because Michigan and them have a rivalry, but also because of the fact that Michigan's in bowl eligible. But Michigan ain't beating them this year though. Ohio State owes Michigan payback for the last couple of years. And on top of that, Ohio State's the better team. And Ohio State is clearly ranked higher. But if Ohio State was to lose to Michigan this year, they don't deserve to play for no bowl, no top tier bowl at all. They deserve like the Doritos Bowl or the Skull Cap Bowl or the Do Rag Bowl. Give them the Do Rag Bowl if they lose that game. So I'm not. I'm already know. That's a done deal. He should fire himself if he loses that game. He should go in and resign. He's not losing that game. Now, what he got to do is win his bowl games and hope they gets in the playoffs. That's what he got to do. That'll save us behind. But this was an easy W. I told you already for the season started. You know, I know my team, and they suck this year. So 75% says that Kansas City is not the luckiest team. Okay, wow. It's been over. It was over. That's the thing. They played Michigan really good last year. Went to overtime, and they did lose a couple games, but they've been on the downside the last couple years because they lost a couple games here and there they didn't do. But that's another thing. Saban can use the NIL and the other stuff, but the main reason why he got out is because they don't have the talent to run things like they did. Georgia did run things for a minute. So they still was a Final Four team last year, and they played a far better game against Michigan than the Huskies did. But asking them to be what they were a couple years ago is not going to happen. So that's all. So I wasn't surprised or shocked. All right, now, anybody coming here, feel free to come on through, ask questions, hit the likes, hit the subscribes, and if you got anything we'll talk about, let's do it. If don't get any heavy action, I'll be on for an hour tonight because I going to see if I get some heavy. I need some conversation with people coming through. All right, you asked me this question the other day, and I told you I can't really say because again, depends on where you get drafted. Um, Depends on what team you go to, the system. I can't say. I can like a guy, but it depends on where he go. Depends on his system. I can't, I'm not gonna give you I'm not gonna look at Caleb Williams. Let's talk about the guys that we see right now. How does Caleb Williams look to you in Chicago? Because to me, he looks like a work in progress. There's a lot going on. And I think the Bears have to have a real overview of what they want to run as an offense. Look at Bryce Young. He stunk. He got benched. He stunk. He got benched. He coming back. What does that mean? Justin Fields. It's hard to say because a lot of these guys need time. Sanders should probably come back to college one more year. I don't think that he would go out. I think that, it depends on where they go. Tua took time to develop, okay? He's a good example. And his health is risky, but he took time to develop. Can't say. I can't speculate no more. There was a time I used to could. I can't. I will tell you this. I didn't see Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson being this dynamic. I liked them a lot. I just didn't see them being that kind of dynamic. Not like this. Now where you're talking about two of the greatest ever to do it. So, again, it depends on where you go, what kind of system you got, what kind of talent you have around you. Because Jaden Daniels looks better than Caleb does. But Washington is also got mental situation. Tough on Baker, Faker, Mayfield. Why am I any more tougher than him than anybody else would be? He came with all that hype. He had all those commercials when he was in Cleveland. You like I forgot that? I like him as a backup. I don't like him as a starter. Sometimes I think people be trolling because if you're looking at Tampa Bay, and I know they've had injuries, but he's thrown a lot of bad interceptions. They're a very mediocre team. They're not better than Atlanta. They lost to the Atlanta. He's doing enough to start in the NFL, but really, who is he better than? He doesn't have bad coaching now. He's got a good coach in Tampa Bay. He'd be making mistakes still. Okay, you can say that in Cleveland, but how come he couldn't be a backup with the Rams? How come he couldn't get a job in Carolina? No, I'm not buying that mess. Sometimes the cat is what he is. He's a third string, second tier quarterback. Sometimes he really ain't that good. He doesn't look any dynamic in Tampa Bay. He looks basic. He's good enough to be a starter. But no one is exactly going, oh, Baker Mayfield comeback play of the year or Tampa Bay's a Super Bowl threat. I already said that. I told Ted that already because no one is paying him no attention. And I said that to him too when he was down in him last year. He's getting poised. He peaks at the right time, keep the turnovers down, and let the chips fall where they might, they could be a problem. Because I got a feeling that they only gonna have to go through either Green Bay or Detroit. I mean, Green Bay or they have to go through Detroit or Philly, not both. So they could be a problem. I like him. I like Jordan Love. All he has to do is he can put up numbers. So if they can run the ball, don't turn the ball over, play some defense, they could be a problem. They're not the kind of team you're gonna want to have to deal with if they're rolling. You're a work in progress. We'll see how it turns out. You got some big games coming up. We're gonna see. I think you're pretty good in spots, but I think that you're pretty basic in others. We'll see. Because the reason why I say that because will Russell Wilson hold off Justin Fields, and that's a lot going on. We'll see. Oh, what an interesting topic that you're going to jump into. Tiki Barber, because no one really cares about Marcus Allen. Marcus Allen wasn't exactly burning the airways. His Super Bowl winning MVP and played, but Tiki Barber, because he was more front line, he was more front line. Had a good career too. Marcus Allen was a better back though, but Tiki played in New York, and that's kind of where it went. Eminem, come on now. Let me tell you why. She's a big one, and this is close, but people are done with her 20 plus years ago. No one sweated her since. Remember, she don't mess with brothers no more, so that alone takes her out the equation. Eminem still's hanging around, Dre still hanging around because he used it to his pulpit. He got up there with Obama. Remember? She got up there with Kamala, but the thing about it is this: she in real white world. She hanging out with Ben Affleck and all that. She act like she don't know Diddy. She don't know nothing about them white. She acting on. So, Charlene, this is the thing. Does he respect the culture? Yes. But did he get caught saying racist remarks on tape? Yes. Benzino had the tapes. But let me tell you this about Benzino. They had this in a court. She is a real artist. She did. Mark Anthony, her first husband. She did. Most of them are, but they real. But let me say something about this. Let me correct people on this. All artists are entertainers. I never liked that standard when people used to say, "Well, Michael Jackson more entertainer." It's all artistry. If you're singing songs, um, you're singing songs, you're performing. That's artistry. You have to connect with your fans, and you might say you're lightweight or you don't fit the tiers. That is artistry. Jennifer Lopez is an artist, but she ain't done. Oh yeah, so Benzino. Type in Benzino if you ever watch Real Life or anything with Benzino interviews. Type in him with the tapes about Eminem. There was a federal case where they had a lawsuit and the judge allowed a certain amount where Benzino had it on tape where Eminem kept saying the N-word and they had it and it was proven. It's all on Google. Oh, it's the bigger one. It's Van, but it's close. The reason why Dyson isn't is because Dyson actually is a professor. So he articulates, tries to be deeper. But Van Jones, I don't know what he do. I don't know what he do. So, at least Dyson is a preacher and a professor or something, but he bought and paid for it too. So yeah, but a lot of them are artificial. But let me tell you something about her artificial. Her artificial broke her and Puffy as a first couple thing. It worked because that's what pop music is. Jennifer Lopez was trying to follow the blueprint that Paul Abdul, that Janet Jackson, Britney Spears did. Yeah, she did. She ghost sung on them songs, and she got paid money, but she still had to perform. I mean, they still sold enough of her imagery to sell her. Now you could say she's a fake artist, but she's still considered an artist. She actually gets up there and performs. She actually gets on the stage. She was at the Super Bowl and performed with Shakira, so she does perform, and that is artistry. And she's a straight entertainer, she'd be on OnlyFans or she'd be modeling somewhere, which I think she should. I'll give you that. That should be entertainment. I should see her juggling some rabbits with one piece on but she's an artist. People buy her work. People buy her singing. People buy what she put out. She has the machine behind her. I still have my funny story about the time she was in the studio, I think with Corey Rooney, and he was on the keyboard. She said, "Find my key," and I cracked up. I watched that on Storm and Row a year ago, and that was hilarious. She told him to find my key. I'm like, "You non-singing." Oh, this is hilarious. The stuff that you hear. I'm sorry. Yeah, but she's not considered a deep singer. See, her tone isn't that deep. She has great songs, true. Is she a great singer? She's a stylist. That's what Jennifer Lopez is. If you put Janet Jackson, you put Jennifer Lopez, and you brought them up against Anita Baker, who's going to be considered the singer and who's going to be considered the stylist? Two out of three are stylists. They all stylists, but who's the one that you said can sing? Janet Jackson, uh, Jennifer Lopez, and Anita Baker. I like Janet Jackson, but she ain't no singer. She's an artist. She's not a singer. You'll never get her mistaken for Gladys Knight. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I like her. Oh, it's rap report because Kid Rock, as offensive as he is, that's only for like political parts. Rap report makes a way of still being front and center. Vlad uses him. They still ask him his thoughts on hip hop and NBA and all that. No one comes to Kid Rock with a microphone to to get at him. Kid Rock makes himself front and center for Trumps and all that other stuff, but he ain't in it like Rap Report. Rap Report's all in your face, more direct with it. I can't stand either one of them, but Rap Report is far more. You know, Kid Rock, for the most part, he's open with it, and you know what he's about. But Rap Report is like every other day or every other month with something. So they seem to make him to be somebody that they want. He's kind of like the Fat Joe of white cats that got something to say about everything or be part of everything. So that's why he gets it. Listen, I like Janet Jackson though, and I bought Control. I bought her records. I used to have all her records once upon a time, but she wasn't. She probably sung her best her first album, if you ask my opinion. But she worked very hard to get what she got, and I know all about, you know. But she wasn't nobody that people were gonna break their neck and think she was a stylist. She wasn't no singer, and there's a big difference. And that's all I say. Tim Scott. Come on now, it's Tim Scott. Obama is a politician, but he actually was president. There's a big difference when you were the thing that gets Obama messed up is because he's having to panhandle to try to hype up people that he feels is beneath him. Let me tell you a story, and I'm gonna be honest with no one. The people that quickly to diss Obama, let's ask you like this. He was never worried about Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, or Kamala. He tried to use the latter he got because he's got crossover. They don't have the crossover he got. So it makes him look bad in that regard. But Tim Scott's trying to get what Obama's got. Tim Scott ain't got past second base. Okay. He dancing, he's shuffling, but he ain't got past second. I would compare J Lo with Paula than Madonna. There. Yeah, yeah. Except Paula was a better dancer than J Lo, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And Paula worked with Janet Jackson on her dance routine when Control and all that came out. Madonna worked her butt off as a stylist. But Madonna, what Madonna's got overall in the show is kept a song. She changed up her image. She had the real hustle. Madonna had the real hustle. She had the hustle. She out hustled all of them. She outworked everybody. Then Janet learned from that. Hmm. That's one thing I'll say about Madonna. You can be better, but you ain't gonna outwork her. She outworked all of them in her peak and her prime. They worked hard though, and then they all different boats. They all artists, you know. If you got a career that people still put money on 15, 20 years later, you ain't just some entertainer that's juggling balls and stuff like that. She is. There's no argument there. Paula was a Laker girl, and she did all the choreography. She was. But Janet got people's attention with her steps, you know. The worst one is Cuba. Come on now. Cause Eddie is kind of awake. He a lot more deeper than he used to be. And you do got to give it to him back in '89 at the Oscars when it wasn't fashionable. He got up there and says black folks don't get nominated for these awards. So Eddie was way more than that. Cuba was he been shuffling so long and he did the OJ thing and he didn't see that coming. You know, she just got better songs, but that's all we want. That's all we want. I think Madonna's a better singer than Jennifer Lopez, and she's a better singer than Paula. So I disagree on that. She better singer than Paula and J Lo on their best days. The songs is what we go about. That's one thing I always will quote Quincy Jones on if nothing else. It's the songs. It's always about the songs. See, because you got to have the songs. We don't know nothing else. But if you got the songs, we work with your voice. We'll work with you. If you got a classic song, we'll work with you. I tell you something right now. If Beyonce had five of Madonna's best songs, then you could understand all this hype about her being GOAT arguments and conversation. She doesn't have that. Please continue to hit the likes and subscriptions and everything as I see more people are coming in. And if you got anything you want to say, feel free. So far, we got a poll numbers are up. 67% says no, Kansas City isn't the luckiest. So, you know, it's pretty good so far. So keep it coming. I like the questions. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it going. Mm, mm, let's see if we got any more coming through. People are getting quiet again. Let's go. If you're still there, say something. Let me know. Um, DJ Khaled. Gary Owen gets nauseating with it. I know why you would mention him, but he ain't said nothing that I would. He got undone by his situation. But Khaled, that's on some plant. He's a plant because he's big for what? And no one even talks about him being in jail because she was a black female that led a group. So you're channeling Diana Ross. You're pushed as the love child of Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson, but you're channeling Diana Ross. And when you understand the components, Destiny's Child did start off kind of slow and then they hit. It took a while. There were bigger female groups at the time, but they hit. So she hit. People kind of grew up with her. She got in the film. She did the, so she got the hype. And so she has a 30 plus year career. That's why. And she connected. That's why. Sold a lot of records. It's just that people go by the artificial, the inflated than they do about the reality. The standards are different, but that's what's up. But that's what a hype is. And she's the most important black crossover artist over the last 25, 30 years. You can throw whoever you want to throw at me and she's going to win. That doesn't mean she's better than they were. It's just that she crossed over and she hit in ways that they didn't hit. That Crazy in Love was a huge song for her career. That was huge. She hit big. She outworked though. She's a hard worker. I will give her that. And she very, gets into doing a lot of different projects. So between film and all that. It's Timberlake because Wahlberg, obviously that's there. But Timberlake, when you throw in the management, he used the same background as Wahlberg, having black man songwriting and all that. But the whole thing with Janet Jackson was the one alone. I'm sorry, when you say his name, you think about Janet Jackson 20 years ago, that's gonna win out. And Wahlberg ain't far, but that's why. But you see, this is the thing. Kelly came out with it first with Nelly, but Beyonce and Jay-Z were bigger. And then you had the booty dance, which was big too. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. She did the whole thing. And Kelly didn't have anything after Dilemma. Her other songs were cute, but Beyonce came up big. Triple platinum debut. Kelly went platinum. Kelly didn't have anything remotely after that. And could sing, but Kelly is like a Junior Whopper Brandy, and it never went nowhere. Fat Joe, because he's an industry plant. Logan and Jake Paul, they fight cats, but that's business. People will pay that. But Fat Joe, and I just did a video that's coming out next week about him and Babyface. I look at him with very suspect eyes when I think about Big Pun. And then I look at how he seems to always be in the middle of everything and he wants to use the N word and he wants to have his business. No, because the Paul brothers are in the business of fighting. I don't feel that they're industry spies or plants. I suspect of him. You ask me, I'm more suspect of Fat Joe. I'm gonna be more suspect of so-called artists in the industry than I am of act other people because there's all their arterial motives. And Fat Joe didn't got this carte blanche, which is I don't get it because he's not a top tier rapper. So why does he get so much pass for what I don't know? That's why I'm talking about. I'm not saying that them two cats ain't, but they fighting. They'll go in the ring. They fight. But Fat Joe, there's something about it that underlining him and J Lo work together. It's an underlining thing. I have an issue with because they grew up together, and that's how. And everybody's for pay. Everybody's for play. But you got to remember something. Two things can be true. Your friend could be right, but Jay Z's fair game for the takedown. You do understand that people are forecasting that his takedown and what they're going to do to come after him is starting. You do understand that. That's what's happening. That's why they're allowed to say things because they didn't already mess with Diddy. They dealt with R. Kelly. They're going in threes. They're going in threes. R. Kelly, Diddy, now Jay. You see what I'm saying? And as I tell Ted all the time, the birds that flock together. When Eve had her book out and said Jay-Z didn't really think a female rapper would blow up, and she said it as a little bit of a buzz. You see how these things kind of go? They go from this to this to this to that. Remember, you starting to just get it in increments. So DeHaven is trying to get that bag and he's got to sell it. And how's he gonna sell it? His association with his dear old friend. We don't care about the Haven. I'm going. Do I need to be cold? Oh yeah, we'll give the Haven some money to get maybe a year's worth of Subway sandwiches and drinks and chips. But we ain't trying to. He's looking for a big meal. To quote Jay Z and Timberland, he's looking for steak and lobster. He ain't looking for like a veggie sandwich, chips and drinks all year at Subway once a week. He looking for the big. This is deeper than you think. So that's what's up. For me, I gotta say Sugar Ray Leonard because he grinned his way and he was annoying. Wilt didn't hide. Wilt was a brother that was, he was obviously liking the ladies and he was out and about. I think he grew up more cosmetic. He grew up in more metropolitan, so his thing was a little bit different. Sugar Ray Leonard was made to cross over once he did it with the Olympics and the 7 Up commercials and his ex-wife and all that and everything. And he was non-threatening and he was cash money. See, before if you grew up only seeing Oscar De La Hoya, there was Sugar Ray Leonard. Crossover. And believe me, when I was a crossover athlete, brother, they gotta go the whole nine before Tiger Woods, just Sugar Ray Leonard, before Michael Jordan. Sugar Ray and Jordan's situation was the same because they made him marry them girls. I'm telling you what I know. They wanted to clean him up, give him a soft drink, fast food. Tell you, stuff don't change. But there's always one that comes along. He's the crossover kid. Like Mahomes had to marry that girl. See, this ain't nothing new. It seems the names are different, the technology different, but it's the same manipulative of corporate America. Mahomes had to put a ring on that girl's finger. Sugar Ray had to put a ring on that girl's finger. Jordan had to put a ring on that girl's finger. Tiger had to marry that babysitter. I'm telling you. But Wilt was Wilt. Wilt was like allowed to. He wasn't because he wasn't a threat. Well, yeah, because corporate America, yo. It was his long-term sweetheart and all that. But just like LeBron had to marry Savannah. I You a smart dude. You watch these videos. Watch these cats that you asked me about and watch what they who were how they were involved. Tyson had to marry Robin. When they see you as product pitchman, they want your behind to be clean cut, well groomed, shaved clean, and we're gonna say you to middle America. Product pitchman. Shaq had to behave himself. Um, Kobe did too. Well, Jeter was clean cut. He was clean cut. He was the eligible bachelor. A-Rod was bigger than him. A-Rod was married. Do I need to keep on going? Am I making a revelation to you? If you think it's a revelation, give me a 1. If you don't think it's a revelation, give me a 2. You asked one question, I know I veered off. But when you asked me this question, I had to tell you how Sugar Ray Leonard got to where he got. Because just like the actors in Hollywood get PR relationships, musicians are allowed to act like they freaks. They're allowed to act like they don't have one wife. They're allowed like they have multiple women like them because they were always kind of like allowed to be players as singers. The allure. That's what happened with John Bon Jovi. He married a girl that said, "Don't do it. You'll mess up your pops," because they had to pretend to be ladies' men. It's funny how this works in sports because you are matured that they say you are going to sell product pitchmen. Now, I know the ones that obvious. You're gonna ask me about Magic. Magic downplayed his son forever and a day until he married Cookie. But he was not a product pitchman by himself. So therefore they did use him, but they didn't use him. Bird had that girlfriend that died, a baby that didn't marry, but it didn't work against them because they were tied together. Dr. J was sold as a certain way. His personal business was low. He had that daughter Stevenson out of it. But again, I'm telling you, when they sell you product right, they want you to be tied a certain way. Well, I grew up in a time where I saw a lot. This stuff ain't nothing new. You should too. If you come along today, you should be able to see it because it's way more open now than it was when I was coming along. Well, yeah, because I watch folks, that's all. And people would, you know, but I also observe. Yeah, yes, he did. Because it wasn't fashionable. He was living a playboy bachelor life. And he was trying to perfect he wanted to be like R&B artist. He wanted to be like Michael Jackson and Prince and them. That's why he wanted to be seen like that pop star. He didn't want to be seen that he had all even though he was probably impregnated half of Cali and had to we don't even gonna know how his story was because we don't really know. There was a lot that went down. David Stern cleaned when I tell you David Stern cleaned the NBA up. That's what I mean. You ain't gonna know the half of it, you know. Jordan had that told you about that white chick that got that 5 million. It wasn't even his. Had to pay that money, keep it under wraps. It's a lot of stuff you ain't gonna never know. They cleaned up a lot of it to sell the product. Oh, yeah, well, you can't be having no orgies with 5 and 6 women's and not that. It was rigged. I'm back and I watched your Mike versus Jake fight. Okay. What's up? Good to see you. What's up? You can't be having all that kind of stuff. You know that was stuff that went down. Them pool parties. You know stuff went down. Probably had to pay a lot of stuff off. A lot of stuff you ain't gonna know about because remember, entertainment industry is ran by what? Lawyers who look like what? David Stern's a lawyer. Adam Silver a lawyer. Clive Davis a lawyer. They make back alley deals all the time. It's all connected. It's all entertainment from Hollywood to DC. Stuff that you ain't gonna never hear about. They cleaned it up. If you ain't got an well, we're gonna take care of you though. I don't be dealing with no trolls today. See how funny that is. But anyway, anybody wants to come here and troll, you got to go. If you got something to say, we're welcome to have you on board. No time for deal with no trolls today. But if you got questions, we can talk about it. She man, you gotta remember something. The oldest trick in the book in Hollywood is buying somebody's silence. She was silent on that stand when he put that $4 million house on her finger. And that was her get me some side. So probably was. I know she ain't, but you gotta remember how old she was when she messed with him. She had him by the neck. She was underage when they were married, when they all that together. She came to the Laker games. I remember she used to wear the white hat and be like this, covering her eyes. Everybody knew what was up. See, people, when you're going, and that's one of the things that's working against the narrative about how great he was in a way. He Tell me what's the what? What's the what? She came to Laker game. She had the hat covering her eyes. This was, if you look it up during the finals, it's like 99, 2000. She was 17. She was on the Brian McKnight shoot. When they did the song KOBE, Brian McKnight and Kobe, she was a video extra girl. She was in high school. Kobe and her, she was at the games. He was about 20. She's about 17. Nobody said nothing, though. Yeah, you didn't know that? You're a Laker fan. You should know that. That's why when he got busted in Colorado, he said, I should do like Shaq and paid these girls off and all that mess. His stuff was so for the streets. And that's why Nas came on and called him Toby. He got dissed, man. It was bad. That's why we had the Kobe versus Shaq beefs back then 20 years ago. People was choosing sides. The thing is, people love Kobe as a player, but they thought he was a snitch. They just went out like a sucker, you know. But yeah, Vanessa got bought and paid. I told you before on here he was gonna divorce her twice. First time before that whole episode went down with that girl in Colorado, because um he said she gained too much weight with the babies and he was done with her. But then that whole episode went down, then he had to flip. Yeah, I think I told you about there was this one woman I knew. You would look at it and you would think she messed with Kendall Gill. That was funny. She was talking about how funny he was. Sean Kemp, I told you about, impregnating half the chicks in the streets. He was wild. Gary Payton used to holler at everything he saw. Um, George Carl always gave me some racist vibes. His vibes was funny time. He's big stuck on himself. Russell Wilson was pompous and arrogant. Turned a lot of them cats off. Uh, Sherman was kind of like a Sherm. He seemed like he was unbalanced. I mean, of course, you didn't heard about Earl Thomas. I ain't got to tell you about that. Michael Bennett, strong will brother, but was too black for Seattle. Marshawn, who was, but then Marshawn hit with the folks. So make it make sense because it's not the most blackest blackety place, but he hit cool. Griffey Jr. cornball, but he fit in good with the community. They loved him, and he knew it too. He almost messed it up for himself, but since they didn't win, and they owe it to him, so Ichiro was a diva. A-Rod was wild, and there you go. I covered basketball, baseball. Jim Kelly was wilding. Yeah, yeah, I think you heard about that one chick. He was messing around. He was wild in them streets. He was definitely the quarterback. That's before everything changed with him, though. But yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I heard about that. But they didn't make a big deal about it though. Josh Allen just got engaged, so but they've been trying to say stuff about his fiance. I don't know. Okay, so let's keep it going. So 64% say no. He did. He had all of them. They got busted on South Beach, making sure they weren't in clubs and pubs because he knew how those cats were. See, the thing is that when cats would come in to visit Miami, they get toe up, and that's why they be playing crappy. But he made sure his players. Pat Riley was a stickler for body weight, content, all that. He be watching you from head to toe. He was a stickler for that because he knew what was going on. And Cass was trying to get into stuff, and that's why he was like he was. He let Dwayne Wade get away with a few things that would not have happened with others. He was hard on Shaq because he thought Shaq didn't take it as, he wanted Shaq to grind it out like Alonzo. Shaq wasn't going to do that for him. And they had a bad falling out. They got into it, but they were both big for each other's careers, but they was, you know. And Gary Payton, he tolerated Gary, but again, he tried that. And of course, you know how him and Tony Walker, he was tough. Yeah, because Twan came there to party. Twan was a gambler, reckless, tried to be in the end club, fool around, went broke, messed with a gold digger, and stuff went crazy. That's what's up with Twan. Twan got some humbling experiences. He tried to hang with the big boys. I mean, he tried to play cards and stuff with Jordan at the table. He didn't have the bag, so he tried to hang with Barkley and Jordan, you know, by money wise. Crazy stories. Crazy stories. A lot of crazy stories about cats in the NBA. Iverson was reckless with the loot too, but because they put that trust fund for him with Reeboks, he didn't blow all his money. Now he look like a smart man. Yeah, it's not for everyone. Yankee culture was about being clean cut and being a certain image and all that. And you had a reputation and you walked it in stride. It's not for everybody. It's not. You know, it's tough to kind of give up yourself because you got to conform. Everybody ain't gonna conform. So that's true. And I understand it. You got to do a lot to make that thing work. Laker culture ain't for everyone either. That goes without saying. Well, about the whole thing about him being naked at the frat. He's a frat boy, and he got his freak on. His stories are a lot like Trump's stories. When you hear about the whole thing at the apartment, if Roger Goodell was doing half his job, or whoever commissioner was, he would have been suspended. Along with that motorcycle episode, he kind of did what he wanted to do. He had carte blanche, you know. He won them rings in Pittsburgh, and he was seen as some kind of, but he did come him and him and Mike Tomlin did collide. He had to do enough acting so he didn't come out wearing his whole mega flag and his hat. But Big Ben was, yeah, he a frat boy. If you ever watch Tagler Day and Nights and any of that, he's a real frat boy. He's a frat boy for real. They covered his behind though. They cover a lot. The NFL is no different than the NBA or Major League Baseball. He did. He did. He's what but the thing about it with him is that he doesn't put himself in a situation where he's exposed, if you know what I mean. But it's got to be kind of a trip. He went to one of the white parties where Leonardo DiCaprio was at about a year or so ago, and that has to be like ookie, 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 ookie. Even though he broke up with the girl, it's like, wow, it's a small world. Cats be into some real trip out stuff. Let's just say that. Yeah, you can tell he drinks. He looks like the kind of cat. His eyes look like he been into something. He came to that one of them parades kind of toe up. He's a big boy too, for real. But he does enough to keep his weight down when it comes to making the measurements, and of course he's able to perform. But yeah, he goes pretty hard. I can so see that. We know his brother is though. We know about his brother. His brother don't hide nothing though. I'm always hearing stuff about his brother, but they keep that under wraps though. Now his eyes look a little bit when he's wearing them shades, he's into some Michael Jackson early '80s mode where, he's like rocking his shades and his curl, but he be doing some stuff though. Yeah. Like I said before, Mahomes, because he's so talented and he's got a certain charisma, it's covered. But his brother's the one that's the fall guy for all the stuff that you really see, that's dead too. Yeah, cause he wears some shades and he be all when Michael used to wear them shades, he said, "Imma take off my glasses, okay, okay." And Michael be rocking them shades. And that's what he would be like if we didn't have hip hop, like if we were going back in time, that's what he would be like. He'd be seen like a Michael Jackson type of threat. Cause Bruno Mars doesn't carry that kind of way. It's more hip hop oriented, but that's the same, what it would be in a modernized way. Mhm. But he's got good PR though. He do. But Jordan was cheese-eyed and cheesed out and be tore up in the eyes when he was, away. So again, they let you get away with it if you're winning. And his dominance allows him to get away with it. That's all. Remember, it does pay to have dominance. When you're winning, people don't say as much. You're making the money. You hear anybody say anything about his $300 million contract now? Not a peep. They would because they'd be looking at him like he was washed. And the problem was he'd have to tour, he'd have to uh, make money, which he would do, but they would say that. That's part of how it goes. That's how it goes. Cause they're saying it now, and they've been telling this lie about Chris Brown for all these years. They were all that's what the industry does. They don't necessarily believe that mess, but they have to say it to try to sell the hype. They're trying to keep people whitewashed and eyes blinded about what they think is happening now. Because you can't compare eras, but you really got to know that to be better than Michael Jackson, you'd have to really hit with people, all the way around the globe. No one has done it like that, not in recent memory. But yeah, they would. Oh yeah, Brett Favre was all into it. He was drunk, cheeky, all that, everything you can imagine. That's why he got a good chance to be president one day, because he fits all the criteria. He checks all the boxes. Everything you can imagine wrong, somebody would put money and have him as a politician with his old cheeky self. I can't stand Brett Favre, but you know, he was great and he was overrated. But that's how it go. Oh, it is. There is. So let me answer that question. There has always been Prince questions about him and Rick James. Actually, I seen one against him and R. Kelly, him and Babyface, Luther against Marvin Gaye, Luther against Smokey Robinson, Luther against Stevie. It always Whitney against Aretha, Whitney against Mariah, Stevie Wonder against Ray Charles, against Marvin Gaye, against Michael Jackson. They all are. I don't know what circles you in. I've heard them all get battle tested. They all been battle tested. I'm in different music forms and spots, and I've seen all those names get questioned against different people. So it's just that Michael Jackson's standards were set so high that he's a pinata and he went where so far have gone. But they've all been questioned. All of them. Yeah, Bradshaw was. Bradshaw was a meathead, middle of the road cat who, you know. Okay, let me tell you this why. You want to know? Okay. Prince and Rick James and Prince and Michael, that's still a debate for some. Uh Luther, because it didn't really he kind of his lane. It didn't really he never really got that big like that. Whitney and Aretha's it. That's it. That's the ones I hear about now. That's all they go. They go to the Holy Grail. And Stevie, he's kinda like the ones that know, respect, but they're not gonna go back but so far. I think the reason why is because Michael's more popular in the sense that his records and his impact. That's the only thing I could tell you, but I do think that Whitney and Aretha, I hear that one still right now. Luther's left alone because it's mainly a black thing. Okay, so he never really had that crossover. Stevie, um, they link him with Marvin Gaye or maybe with Ray Charles, but it's kinda his own lane. But the Prince thing with Rick James and the Prince thing with Michael, that's always gonna be part of the yeah. But the reason why you don't hear about the other guys so much is because they again, Michael Jackson is like the records are still selling, the impact is still felt. That's not saying the others don't, because Princeton done quite well posthumously. Luther's got some buzz with this documentary. Whitney's getting bigger again in spurts, even though the film didn't do much, and Steve Wonder's still very much alive. But Michael just hits differently. That's all. That's the best way. It's kind of like Michael's situation is like Tupac and Bob Marley. No, not even close. First of all, she's got that corny TV show which Clive Davis been trying to push. No one feels J Hood like that. She got all the awards, right? And she did a good enough performance in the movie. And she's never came close. They've tried. They never gave her a song that anyone cares about. Talents, but she's not in it. It's not intriguing enough. She's not. Whitney could sing anything and hit, and she had better songs. J Hud hasn't done anything that comes close to it. For if she did, ask yourself this question: is Jennifer Hudson getting a pass like John Legend, who's half baked, as far as I'm concerned? But John Legend got all them awards. No, her voice isn't seeing Whitney. No, no. Mm-mm, mm. Did you ever hear the audio of Whitney Houston back in 84, 85 when she did a cover of Lionel Richie's Love Will Find a Way? If you haven't, look that up on YouTube. What's up, Will? What's happening? Look it up on YouTube if you haven't. Get back to me. Because when she did a cover of Lionel Richie's Love Will Find a Way, look it up. The next time you on here, you let me know if J Hud's ever sounded as soulful as Whitney did. Whitney sounded like Randy Crawford, who did Street Life. Jennifer Hudson only got one range. Whitney hit you with three. The rawness of her was before she did her first record, before You Give Good Love and how she did How Will I Know and also The Greatest Love of All. And then I'll Always Love You. J Hud ain't seeing none of them voices. Tell you right now, 85 to 92 Whitney. No, she can't. Not in the same area code. But if you get a chance, if you haven't seen that Love Will Find a Way, that Lionel Richie cover, that Whitney sounded soulful. I ain't never heard J Hud ain't seen no, not the prime Whitney. None of it. None of it. She might could hang with the It's Not All Right, It's Okay era 98 Whitney. She can't hit that Whitney back then. That Whitney back then, run her on the table. They call it. Yeah. And I think if she wasn't married to Bobby and Costner wasn't scared about backlash, I think he had feelings for her because he really loved her. He really felt something for her. Yeah, but I'm telling you, Whitney's voice was soulful. J Hud ain't never hit it like that. There's just different levels. And I got a news story for you since you're on my live feed too. My cousin, Jennifer Holliday, well, she lost all that weight, did and I'm telling you I'm not going. From Dreamgirls, the original. That was my cousin, Jennifer Holliday. Jennifer Hudson did the remake, which of course you know with the movie and all that. So that's a little tidbit on here. Yeah, Costner really thought a lot of her. Costner a cool dude. I mean, he's cool. He's from Compton too, by the way, but people don't even think about him being from the same place as Kendrick Lamar and all that. There's a different CMP. Costner cool. He loved her. He cared about her. Yeah. Well, I just mentioned that legend. I was making the facts about the awards, though. That's all. The bigger one? Oh, this is a good one. Who would I say out those two? Billy Porter. Because we only care about Tyrese. Tyrese is a black situation that he's like that cousin or that relative that we're going to hit him in the back of his head and say, come on now, stop acting that way for these folks. Stop showing up. But Billy Porter cried and moaned and went all and got really turned out and then wonders why nobody will touch him. Tyrese could be having our issues. We can relate. Tyrese said, I ain't paying them chicks no more money. And he goes on his rant. But he frustrated because and I know what you're gonna tell me, well, he wanted to be this and want to be that. But he ain't gotten all the way to the point where Billy Porter put himself front and center like that. Because Billy Porter was delusional. We know Tyrese could be cray cray, but Billy Porter went straight into a whole. They both went astray, and it is close. But I got to give it to Billy Porter because Billy went broke. Tyrese still got that big butt house, and Tyrese didn't sell himself out not to be aware of his paper. When has Billy Porter ever done a uh Fast and Furious Part 8 and 9? Think about it. Because as bad as Tyrese is, he keeps a real gig. Billy Porter be doing plays and Broadways, and they'll never accept him. This is tough. Great question, too, by the way. This is tough. Snoop. Snoop. The Rock was crossover already. So when he was with wrestling, he already had that look and that smug. So that's not a real shock. How do you go from being a cat that's with the murder? And I did a video about it, Jay Will. You should watch my videos. I did a whole video about it, but I will tell you about it in a little while. All of a sudden, you hang out with Martha Stewart and Billy Michael Bublé and Sting. Everybody's all lovey-dovey with you, and you just like everybody's favorite. And then you got the nerve to, you still trying to talk to this dog. He's still doing the same old thing you did 30 years ago. So he's the one. Yeah, it's Snoop for me because I think he's informant. What I said about Lonzo Ball, I didn't have a problem with him having Shaq and Curry and Jordan there. I had a problem with LeBron on it. But I don't think Kobe belongs on there. I think Tim Duncan before both of them. But when Lonzo said he shoots the ball too much, well, LeBron's got more shots missed than him. But I respect Lonzo. I'll say this. The right message, wrong messenger. No one's trying to hear what Lonzo Ball got to say because we don't even know I saw him highlight last night and I heard the Bulls are trying to unload him. Nobody's gonna take him. Sorry, you a double junior whopper Jason Kidd that got drafted overly way too high by the Lakers, but you do have a 10-year career. I'll give him that he's still around, even though his brother runs circles around his career. But you forget about Lonzo Ball. He got a nice rapping voice, though. I'll give him that. He could probably be like a basketball version of Drake if he put his mind to it. He got a better chance of being closer to being Drake like than he does Jason Kidd like. Just saying. You take that how you want to take it. That's my thoughts and takes about Lonzo Ball. You more closer to Drake than you are to Jason Kidd, your basketball. Yeah, he can rap. He dropped some bars. It was a few years ago. It wasn't bad too. It's a lot more consistent than his outside shot was. I'll tell you that because that took a while to get that three going. He can run the floor nice. He's got little moves, but not to be the number one draft pick. Not by no Lakers now. That was his daddy did a good job of pimping. I will give him that. I'll give his pops that. But LaMelo is the truth. I like LaMelo. Problem is LaMelo's up there in Saudi Arabia. Shaq, Dame Lillard come to mind. I say MJ, Shaq, Duncan, and Curry. That's the four I go with right now. I'm not taking LeBron over no Steph Curry. Sorry. I am not. And Steph Curry is doing the thing with no you if he does anything with Buddy Hield, then Steph Curry is like the ice cube and no. Cause look at that. Oh, I'm gonna put it to you like this in English. Let Anthony Davis play with Steph Curry and don't see if he got a couple more rings. If you watching the Lakers play now, you know good and well you ain't no championship team. You know you falling by the rails. SGA ate y'all behind up last night. You have nothing on the perimeter. You can't stop the three. They taking you to the hole. You're done. Rice or Spree as far as what? You talking about as players or as far as bucking goes? Which one are you talking about? Which one? If you want me asking who was the better player, one. If you're asking me who was the bucking, two. Because I don't know what that means. Because you were asking me about that. Oh, as players? Oh, Spree. Spree, man. Spree was a dog, man. I like Glenn Rice's shooting all that, but Spree was something else. You forgot about 2015 that he was first unanimous MVP. You forgot that he could have won the Finals MVP in 2018 that they gave to Durant. So yes, Curry's got 2 league MVPs in that window and 1 unanimous one, and he went to 5 straight finals. Yeah, I would, because he changed the course of basketball. Do you realize that if Steph Curry doesn't shoot all those threes, LeBron James's career may have been cut short by 5 or 6 years? I know about the dark mask. I was there with the Heat, and he played great. He played his best basketball in Miami. But you gonna sit here and tell me that the logo threes and shooting range wasn't Curry inspired? You gonna tell me that Steph Curry did not have no impact on LeBron James's game? Do you realize where LeBron James would be if he couldn't shoot threes? He probably would have been done about 5 or 6 years ago. That's what I tell you LeBron stands. When y'all come up about Curry, if it wasn't for the three ball, where would LeBron James' career be right now? He'd probably be barely catch keeping up with Dirk Nowitzki as we talk. That's how big the three ball's been for his career. 40,000, I take about 9 off. I take about 7.5 off. He ain't nowhere near Karl Malone right now if he don't shoot that three. And I'm gonna drop the mic on that one. I remember the dark mask and I liked it. He played his best ball in Miami. And I'm not just saying it as a Heat fan. He played his best ball with Miami. How many rings he got? How many super teams did he have? Sit here and tell me with a straight face that aside from a couple years with Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson isn't considered one of the 50 greatest, 75 greatest players ever. Is Dwayne Wade considered that? Chris Bosh, Hall of Fames, etc. Ray Allen? That's in Miami. Steph Curry had Clay and he had Durant for a couple good runs. And what else? And then he wins with Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Will Lee. No, he's not top five, top 10. I ain't gonna say top. No, he's not top. But if he wins another ring, then yeah. Another ring, yeah. He wins another ring, 25 to 30,000 points, all that, yeah. For me, yeah. Because of how he won and who he won with. I take if you can win with Clay Thompson as opposed to Shaquille O'Neal, yeah, yeah. How many rings did he win, Jay Will, with the team he had? Did he not have a Dwayne Wade? Did he not have a Chris Bosh? Did he not have a Ray Allen? How many times did he lose to Golden State? And he did have Kyrie. He didn't have him that first year, but they did one. He's great, but he ain't changed the course of the game. And let's go something right now. He didn't shut down D Rose. D Rose did get the league MVP in 2011. So how he shut him down? And KG was older too. How he shut him down? He didn't shut him down when they ran his butt out of Cleveland now, did he? See, I love how you LeBron fans conveniently get amnesia when the reason why Dan Gilbert called him a coward and called him out for being soft, he left because they beat that butt in the playoffs. Yes, Boston ran his butt out of Cleveland. He went to Miami to team up with D Wade to get some hood in his bass in his voice because he couldn't do it and he didn't like what he had in Cleveland. So he ran. Tell the truth. Steph Curry's played with one all-time great player, but he didn't run Kevin Garnett out in 2010. Why do you think he went to Miami? They were Eastern Conference Finals. D Rose was league MVP. Wasn't the reason why they beat the Bulls. The Bulls didn't have another scorer. That's what happened to the Bulls in those years when D Rose was balling. That's the reason. I told a buddy of mine, I said if Carmelo was to cherry pick and get with Chicago, they probably win. I'm not in winning what some people nowadays so lonely. Um, I think that well, the internet makes you lonely. I think you get all this no communication because people don't talk. It's always was the case. I think that social media makes people more removed. People are more removed today than they ever been because they don't have communication. They don't really, uh, you know, uh, conversate. So we lost that. We've lost that. We lost a whole generation on because the government and technology they remove people more social distance. So that's what you got. People do everything but really communicate. I think that's what's up. That's a great question, Charlene. It's true. It's always been there. It's just like everything's coming to the foyer. It's like Ice Cube was talking about how people get upset about the language in hip hop and stuff. But he said, but it was always there. It's just they didn't have the social outlets to have it there, which is true. People always act like all this stuff is new. There's nothing new. Yeah, Jason Terry did outplay him in 2011. We don't talk about that. That's conveniently not talked about how bad and embarrassing he was in the finals. You can give a compliment, but it's true because, you know, the thing is there's still people doing stuff. It's just that it's so much game that goes on. It's so much game and how you go about it and what you say about it, you know. So people don't want to go through all that problem. So if they really want you, they find you. That's how it always was anyway. Even back in the day, she's interested in you, she find you. She don't want nothing to do with you. She leave you alone. Ain't nothing changed in that regard. Believe it or not, that still goes on today. If a woman thinks some of it, she find a way to find you. If she don't, you know, you have to find your own self. When you're not expecting it, that's when you get the attention. Believe me, that's how it usually go. You don't try too hard, you'll get a lot of attention. You try too hard, you're attracting the wrong kind of attention, and then you get the wrong kind of circumstances. And you don't want that. And not just legality either. Well, it's no different to old school mail order brides. I knew a guy personally who did order him a bride from another country. This cat did that like 20 years ago. That's nothing new. Pen pals, writing on chat for that's nothing new. Sometimes it be that way. Sometimes you can go store in town and no one rings your chimes. No one's that's not your destiny. It happens that way. It's not a bad thing. Please continue to hit the likes and subscriptions and also hit the poll question. Um, by all means, anybody in the chat want to come through, come through. 64, we got 64% still saying no, the Kansas City isn't lucky. So that's pretty good so far. But anyway, keep on conversating. Yeah, but it's like the way it is, though. I mean, the online dating and all that, that's what goes on. It's nothing new. Mail order brides and people hooking up is nothing new. All right, now I need some people to start doing some talking because I'm people are getting quiet again. So let's keep it. I like the onslaught of questions and conversations. So please keep it coming if you got one. Yeah, well, Ted and I were talking about that yesterday, and I just went into it about how he's basically trying to role play tough guy. And he really, I don't really there's not a lot to Matt Barnes. Um, so this is why I disagree with him. If he's got such a problem with black men and white women and stuff, and he's got a problem with uh, the other agendas with people, men and woman, man and woman, man and woman. I always say all the time, your uniform doesn't change who you're with. Fundamentally, I think that uh, relationships are relationships. People can be with people and they don't lose their identity. That's a choice. I said it. I've known black people that were black like skillets and sold out. And they would tell you that their teeth were white. So they're not really that, you'd be surprised. So I think he is unenlightened about the depths of understanding things about relationships. You can't say that someone isn't pro black or don't have this because they have had different circumstances. And don't say that because of relationships. People are together. So they don't mean that they lose their identity. You don't lose your identity. You allow yourself to lose your identity if you think that way, but then you're under the false illusion for a conclusion and you're not. So, oh yeah, it's always been real. It's like the little piece of your hair that you can always tell. It's always been real, you know. I think he has some good ideas. I don't know about his school and all that, but I think that he's got, I like to see him be more lathered in his observations about certain things. I think some things he makes sense and some things, you know, I have used him as a quote, and I did use him about a quote, but it got me in some trouble in these YouTube streets. So pertaining to Trump, so I don't really use, I like some of the ideology he said, but you don't get that opportunity in America. You don't. Listen, we could all do that. We can all have heritage.com. We can all do that. But we don't get to do that because if the police pull your behind over, you black. Okay? We can talk about Cherokee. We can talk about this and that and the other. They ain't going for no gumbo, no clam chowder. They gonna go to your behind. What do you mean, Tia? Really? I think if a woman was like Jasmine Crockett, I would love to see someone like her if I cared about it, but I don't. But if I did, Jasmine Crockett would be the ideal one. I think if Kamala had Jasmine Crockett's fire, she wins. Jasmine Crockett that's a strong soul sister. But this country ain't ready for that. They too racist, too narrow minded, and too set in their ways. They don't want that. And it shows. They selective about what they like. Yeah, I like her too. That's why I mentioned her. She one person come to mind if I even thought about it. I don't want that Ortiz chick. I know everybody that Ortiz is popular, but see, she be doing that cosplay and be acting all the time. She might be okay as a vice president. She wouldn't make it as no president. But see, Jasmine Crockett be standing on business. She can break it down, she can whip it, and she can deliver it. That's who I want. No, because he don't stand for nothing. He too corny. And he'd have ghostwriters and scripts. He too corny. No. Who does he appeal to? Ortiz is that one Puerto Rican chick. She's those Democratic secretary. She be on those things and she's always doing the adaptation. She does it all over the top, you know. She's smart, but she does the old, goes over the top with her manner and demeanor based on where she's at in the circle she's in. It gets a bit of bugaboo. Whereas Jasmine Crockett gives it to you straight. When she said what she said about Marjorie Taylor Greene, uh, badly built, bodied, bleached blonde, that was hilarious. It broke her off. That's what I'm talking about. You could tell when someone can snap and can Jones and clap on you, and then you can tell when someone is trying to act like where they're in that crowd where they're trying to fit in. That's why Ortiz comes off like she just be acting. Even though I know that the brothers got more access to her because I don't think I don't think she's not doing the J Lo, but she's obviously trying to fit into a certain criteria. But don't let me come out and find out that she's really hanging out in the Caitlin Collins section. Then I'll really be down with her then. That's how I feel about it. So, but anyway. Well, yeah, because you use your so-called ethnic tongue and your so-called down with the problems, and then when you get, when your sugar daddy comes along and he blonde, blue-eyed, and he Mel Gibson you, then you act like I don't know who you are, you know. And so that's the only thing I be wondering about. I watched her, but she be doing a bit much though sometimes. But I don't think she's gonna go out like that though. So I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt of being corny and overacting. Oh, yeah, the J-Lo thing is real, though. Mhm. That's real. It's real. I'm trying to think who did it, though. Let me think of a white chick that did that mess, though. There've been a couple, but I can't think of recent memory. Um, she did when she first came out, but the thing about it with Pink, she didn't really sway from what she was because she kinda was like she wasn't faking. She really does have a bit of that in her. It's not like, she's not a character. I'll give you better examples. Fergie, Gwen Stefani, there's your win for the W's. Yeah, the no booty Cyrus. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, yeah. They wanna be Miss Cleo, but they're really Miss Annie. Mhm. There you go. Them the ones that come to mind. I knew I had to think about because Fergie, yeah. I know Fergie, Stefani, and Miley. Mhm. Those are the ones who did it. And they tried to do that with Cassie. The one that was with not the one associated with Diddy, but the one white girl that came out, she was the one that was out 20 years ago, and they always try to herbify him up. Britney Spears too, to an extent. When she worked with Pharrell and them, Slave for You and all that, with her vocal runs. Um, okay, let me go by one by one. Not Stefani, because the bass player, no doubt her and them used to mess around. Tony Kent, the bass player, she liked the brothers. Fergie, I don't she hate, but she danced. But Pink used to have a brother. She used to mess with a brother. Shakira's, well, now that they got that tax thing, they basically then don't mess with her no more. Britney used to mess with Columbus Short. You remember him? Remember Columbus Short? Um, um, Stomp the Yard. They used to mess around. They got ran off though. They all mess with brothers though. Marley was watching. You don't remember you Columbus Short? Yeah, Britney and him. Hmm. No, I don't think there's no. I think Britney don't know no better. Britney got to play in tradition. They all been down. Yeah, they play that role on TV, but they all down though. I don't think they're hating though. But I don't like the co-playing that. I don't like what Fergie and Stefani did though. That was insulting. But yeah, no, I haven't really felt that they have used their white women privilege to act like they don't know what's going on. I haven't felt that about them. I haven't felt that, you know. But it does go back to you got to come back home, and that's one thing I do know, though. So that's a fact. Yeah. But you said no about what? I had to think about all that though. Oh, they could do like Sarah Palin. Now that's a good example to what you were saying because she used to mess with Glenn Rice. And that big girl daughter of hers, just a matter of time, brother snatch on that up. But, you know, yeah, they don't want to acknowledge that though. That's a fact though. And Amanda Brains is embarrassing. I try not to talk about her. She's embarrassing. Yeah. So I heard this story about, Shakira and Jimmy Butler, but I don't know. But yeah. Well, they use privilege to go into the barn and mess with the property. They know what they doing because they wanna make the massa, who's the husband or boyfriend, jealous and upset. They know what they doing. They use it for pleasure. They'll take pleasure for their privilege, for their power. That's what they do. It's 3 P's that goes along with it. Privilege, power, property. Mhm. But they know. They know. Yeah, that was a low, low story that was going out. That's one reason why he been all kinda out of his feeling. He been all way walking around with that red hair now. He be kinda all out of sorts. There was a rumor going on. He been doing something in South Beach. He been tangoing. I think that's why Pat Riley's supposed to be on his behind, 'cause he been extracurricular activities. And he's a crossover brother too, so not a crossover in the traditional sense that you know, but he's one of them brothers that's almost like not a black redneck, but Hootie and the Blowfish. I know how he get down though. He kinda corny, but that's how he was raised. It's a different story. Ain't nobody gonna want him. He 34, 35. Who gonna want him? He ain't gonna get you no chip. He's just shooting threes decent. He's got moves, but he too banged up body. At this stage, he's on his last good run. I say after this year, he probably got 2 or 3 years tops. And how many of them can he be healthy? That's it. Who's gonna take a chance on him? And that attitude, like I'm playoff Jimmy, but what about the 82 game season, yo? So he's modeling right now. He's on modeling right now. They would trade him, but I don't think they think there's no buyers for him. Who's gonna want him? Don't say the Lakers because they got enough old men now, and he don't shoot threes that good. His defense is good. As far as what? Bucking? Um, Chris Rock. Come on now. Darius is a country brother. And country brother is a little bit different. He let some things slide, but he didn't spoke on some. Chris Rock, though, will sit there and let them call him all kinds of names. He'll sit there and grin and cackle. And if you not notice on YouTube, he's got his face all over the MGM selling the gambling. That tells me that he's desperate for money and attention because ain't nobody will put that two piece on him. He didn't take care of him enough because without that two piece, Chris Rock may as well right now be. Let me think of someone that's a has been that no one talks about. I think it'll come to me who I could pick on. He may as well be almost like Arsenio, like just sitting way on the side that you don't remember. He's way worse. Way worse. Theirs is corny though, and it's bad, but Chris Rock is way worse though. Way worse. And let me get this straight to the people too. He married a black woman. Theirs didn't, but Chris Rock is far more a sellout, far more sold out, far more, far more. You don't even begin to know the half of it. Far more. Darius did speak about the industry and the business. Chris Rock can't wait to get on the microphone and shuffle on them whack award shows and grin. He's not even worth Tubi. He's doing the MGM commercial. If you see the steals on YouTube, the um the gambling. He's promoting the gambling now. No one's touching him with a 10-foot pole. And I ain't say nothing that wasn't the truth. Rocked and his own brother came out and chumped him for not putting him in his movies recently. Tony called him out. And you tell me about who's the biggest when your own brother who basically is a third tier comedian and he's like, y'all won't even put me in nothing. He won't hook his own brother up. And no one's talking about that, but that's a bad look for him too. So He been doing this so long, he don't know no better. He been too happy to take those crumbs. Because Larry Brown is a very frenetic kind of person. Like he gets at you and you can tolerate it for a couple years. It's like the Buck Showalter thing I talk about in baseball. That tyrant, which puts all that emphasis on you for a couple years. My 3 years, we're done with you. And that's why he dries up because once he gets his point, he gets hammers across, but you don't want to deal with him after for so long. He's his own worst enemy. He burns his own bridges. Smart, detailed, methodical, and attack coach, but he gets you. It's hard to say because yes, he would have been easily better than Darko, but the problem is they weren't cut out. Um, no, Jim Harbaugh coached good with Michigan for a long time. He stays in places. He stays in places. But Larry Brown is one of those guys you can only take for a pinch. Guys that win, you can tolerate them leaving. Yeah, he's strict on his point guards because he keeps discipline and he shows you how to win. But it can wear its straw. Melo would have been great, but the problem is Detroit wasn't going for rookies then. They had their mindset. Coached them up, just went up against better teams. That's all. He coached them up. It's just that um, they got beat by better teams. That's all it was. But he coached people up. He got the Clippers a playoff team. I mean, he can coach, man. The best thing do you know how I use about why Scottie Pippen why he didn't get higher in the argument? It's the same thing I use about Larry Brown, why he is higher as a coach. Did the same blueprint for the Sixers in 2001 as he did for the Pistons in 2004. The difference was that uh, Chauncey came up big. The Pistons played team ball. Iverson tried to do it by himself, and he had Chauncey, Rip, Tayshaun, Sheed, Ben played team ball. Shaq was still 20. He was 10 points less than he was in that finals. But even if Shaq had a score 35, the Pistons were going to be the better team because Kobe was getting picked, and Brown stayed to his script. He never changed his script to appease. That works against him. That's what I have to say about that. But he's a great coach. He's one of the 15 greatest coaches ever, and he's tough. Because Darko wasn't cut like that. Darko was kind of lazy. Darko wasn't really going to. And what he asked guys to do, it's a different situation, different totality, you know. Just different ways he put guys through because he was like drilling, emphasizing catching the ball, moving the ball, because they had nothing else going for him. That's why. Kobe was getting his butt picked apart out there on the perimeter, turning the ball over, dancing too long, and shooting bad shots. And then um, factor in Rick Fox look old, Fish look old, Carmelo Gary were looking old. Gary got ate up by Chauncey Billups, so they were just getting beat up off the bench. Lindsey Hunt coming fresh legs. They were just able to keep running legs. Eldon Campbell, they were coming with fresh horses. So he utilized a whole squad and it worked. They wore him down. Yeah, well, the Dwayne Wade thing, Wade would have been a better fit for Detroit if you must know. His style would have complemented them. But they weren't going to bench Rip and they weren't going to underchange Chauncey. But D Wade with them would have been sick. It would have been sick. And I think they would have win a couple rings. So, but they did get a ring out of it, and they lost. They went to two finals. They won one, lost one. Getting McDyess was a good move the next year. It's just the Spurs were a little bit better than them, and they had runs in the Eastern Conference Finals. They just didn't seal the deal. That's all. So, you know, And again, he always welcome, and that was it. What's happening, TPP? Yeah, the Ori was like, I don't know how you lose Robert Ori. I mean, I'm gonna tell you something. Robert Ory, if I saw Robert Ory coming in the game, I'd stick four guys on him. I treat him like I treat Jordan or Shaq or Curry. I say, y'all can let them other four beat you. I don't even care if they lay the ball up. You can't let Robert Ory beat you. It's doing good. Appreciate you coming through. Glad you are here as always. Thank you. Because I'm gonna be on for a little while longer. I've been on for 2 hours, and I'm gonna be on just a little while longer. But I'm glad you showed up. But yeah, it's going good. Did a few things, got in about. I hope yours is going well. Appreciate you. Feel free to hit that poll and hit that like and everything. Appreciate that. But yeah, I treat Robert over in the playoffs, or I treat Robert over like he's like I'm guarding the National Guard. I'm guarding that because you just got to know he's gonna be a problem. But that's one of the reasons why they had that breakdown. And I think they got a little cute and got a little bubbly after beating the Lakers. Took the gas off against them, and that's why they lost. Paxson, cats like Paxson, Steve Kerr, you have to know where they are. There's always those guys you had to know where they're. James Posey too, had to know where they are. They postseason assassins, and every team is smart's got one. And you see what happens with the Pritchard, with the Celtics. That cat knocking shots down him and Porzingis. Those are where they become dangerous. Al Horford, I stack five on them. Telling you, you can see it. Well, Fish sometimes he was streaky, streaky. But I know what you're getting at sometimes. But Ori all the time. Baseball is different. You could say it, excuse me, but it's different in baseball. Baseball is always the guy you didn't really expect. That's what, especially in the World Series. And Freddie Freeman was legit, but usually it's someone you didn't see coming. But if you got enough weapons, you will forget how great somebody is. But I know what you mean when you say that, though. Yeah, Marielli was a great example. He was definitely one of those guys for sure. Houston and San Antonio. He started blowing them kisses and making them threes in the corner. That dude, yeah, underappreciated. Sam Cassell too. There was some guys. Usually when we talk basketball and football, it's usually the guys that you expect. Baseball is the ones that got the unknowns that come up. Yeah, he hit big shots. As course did Ray Allen. So you know. Well, the pop culture is gonna tell you Jackie Robinson because he was a worker. You know, in what he meant from a historical perspective and his impact, and he meant a lot. You know, but if you're saying in the times, I'm taking Jack Johnson because black man fighting like that and all that he had to deal with in the ring and out the ring and the longevity, he went through things you couldn't imagine. And they still got laws on the books called the White Act the White Slave Act, which is the Jack Johnson, where you can't take a woman across state lines or something that they got. That is still on the books as we speak right now. The White Man's Slave Act, because they trumped up a charge about Jack Johnson. He did get his record expunged by Trump. I think it was in 2017, 2018. You have to look it up. But Jack Johnson, it should be like a 1 and 1A if you ask me. But Jackie, because of with the social commentary, because of when he played and what he did in breaking the color in baseball. Yeah, he was. And he was living his best life. He was living like one of the rappers. For real. Suits, you know. They still got the man act right now. That's what Diddy's going to end up getting. See, it's a racist, outdated law too. Because I want to know how in a country that enslaved black people and so on that they can turn around and have a law for. I mean, it's crazy. They could have been, could have been, could have been, could have been something like that. Could have been, but only to a certain extent, though. You know. So, but one thing about history is that once you understand it, you see it wasn't that far ago, and they still got a lot of them old laws still tied to this day. So, has it really changed that much? Yeah, well, boxers were paid to take dives. Rocky Marciano was undefeated. Think about it. He's beating older black guys, and he got over. The rackets were in the movies. They were in the sports world. Fixes were in everything you can imagine. Denny McClain, who won that Cy Young, the last pitcher to win 30 games in the season, was tied in gambling. What do you think he was tied to? Think about it now. This ain't nothing new. Politicians were tied into it too. JFK, all that. Kennedy's involved. All that stuff goes full circle. They are. What do you think the stream hustle is in the film game and the music game? What do you think that's about? They just got it underground nowadays. They when Chris Rock is smiling on the MGM, what do you think that's about? It's all streams. It's all numbers. There's numbers. There's runners. There's runners. There's hustlers. There's hustlers. There's mob. There's mob. There's a game going on. We still talking about Michael Jordan and his father's situation. So come on, that ain't nothing changed. They just the thing is it ain't as open and blatant as it was. You don't see Guido hanging out in Vegas where he's right at you, but it's still around. They just more underground with it. They're in the service industry of different things. Now they got rid of the more louder figures, but they still got the same. You know, they buy all kinds of sort of things. Nothing's changed. Streaming is more mafia than anything ever was because guess what? Artists sell all these streams, but they don't get no money. If that ain't mafia, I don't know what is. Keep your butt broke. Snoop was talking about doing 100 million streams and you get like 10,000, maybe 100,000, some up way low. You got to do 1 billion streams to break even. If that ain't mafia, I don't know what is. So anyway, I'm gonna get ready to call tonight because I've been on for like 2.5 hours. I got to go eat. I might come back tomorrow uh, around the same time as I came on. Appreciate everybody that came through, and thanks for all the donations and all the polls and the questions. And we had a great time. And feel free to watch it again. Appreciate everybody. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free, stay cool.